Today I'm talking to Paul Costa, who has so many award nominations and things that I actually lost track. When I was reading your bio, I thought I can't even remember all of them to list them. So Paul, multiple award nominee, winner, lovely to see you.
Yeah, oh, thank you. It's so good to be, and first time we've met, so it's good to be here.
That's right. So your new song is called Drinkin Hours. And I thought for the first question I'd ask you, Paul, when are your drinking hours?
It's 5 o'clock somewhere all the time, isn't it? Usually, we might, we might have one, after work. Sometimes one or two. I've never been a big drinker, but when the occasion arises, I have a couple. Yeah.
We can keep it quiet that you're not a big drinker because country music, you got to have all those drinking songs.
Oh, yeah. Okay, let's keep that quiet then. Might go against my image.
No, look, you can look at it as you're providing a song for others to drink by.
Oh, look, in company, we'll have a drink.
There you go. This is actually your first song since your 2017 album, which was called Whisper in the Crowd, and I imagine. Obviously you had singles from that album, but this is the first new music since then. And I suppose there's a bit of pressure, therefore, on this new song in terms of choosing which song you're going to record. So how did you come to choose this one?
Well, this one was because I've done, I do a lot of songwriting as well, but this one was actually pitched to me. It came, my publisher, had a bunch of songs, and this one was amongst it. And I did hear it and like it the first time I heard it, but I've never recorded a drinking song, in 5 albums, and I thought, is it me, But then I had a friend with me who was listening at the same time, and he said, "That's a good song. That would suit you." So picked up a guitar, started singing it, and it seemed to work really well. It came up fantastic in the studio when we recorded it. So here we are.
Yeah. When it's not a song that you've written yourself, do you approach it differently when you're preparing to record it? Like, do you have to almost get yourself into the mindset of a character as opposed to singing as yourself?
That's a really good question. I think, it depends for me on the song. I mean, the song is basically about having a good time, and I suppose you try and get that happy sort of vibe while you are singing it, and I think it just relates to the song, the lyrics, the meaning, is how you sell it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I suppose with your own songs too, you're recording snapshots in time. And I know Whisper in the Crowd, for example, had quite a few songs that were from your own life. But in order to keep performing those songs over and over again, if they're really emotional, for example, you have to disconnect from them a little. So I guess it's always playing a character to a certain extent, maybe. I don't know.
I guess so. There's once again, depends on the song. I Drive to Heaven, which was really a real personal song. My son was 4 years old when the whole story, and the song nearly wrote itself, because it was like he wanted to know who my late father was, and who he never met, and sort of he ended up having, after a heap of questions, and him asking me about heaven and how we get there. And I said, we can't go to heaven and see him because it's too far. And he said, "Oh no, Daddy, let's drive to heaven." And so it was one of those songs that sort of came together. But I actually found myself very emotional in the studio trying to sing it. We had to stop a few times because I was like tearing up, and it just wasn't coming out the way you wanted it to. So once again, depending on the song and how hard it hits you in the heart, I guess. Yeah.
Mm. Well, yes, because tears aren't conducive to singing, really, are they? Because they get stuck in your throat, and then it's hard to sing. So yeah, that's one emotional experience. It's not good to have in the studio. Yeah,
well, that's it. I mean, it's good to have emotion in there, but if you're choking up, it's not good. I guess.
So, when you're writing songs, do you tend to just follow an idea that comes up, or do you actually sit and think, okay, what's happened lately? What do I want to write a song about, or what do I feel would be a good song for my audience? Or is there just no one way to do it?
I genuinely it's got to mean something to me, because I just found out earlier on, if it doesn't mean something to you personally, you don't tend to want to sing it live. And you might record a song and you think, oh, it's okay, it might work, but then it just sort of gets lost. It sort of doesn't keep making the set list, and if you're not singing the song live, it sort of gets lost. And oh, you remember that song we used to sing? Oh, how does that go again? So I think it's important to really come from the heart. Yeah. If it comes from the heart, and it means something to me as a singer, I think it sells better too. I mean, like, you get songs like Tractors and Bikes, and people, which means a lot to me because it's me growing up, but other people can also relate to it as well. So I think that's a common thing. If it relates to me, mm-hmm. Chances are it's going to relate to other people. Yeah.
Yeah. Are there any songs of yours that you've been surprised by the audience reaction, like how strong it is, where like you thought it was one particular song and someone's come up to you and said, oh, wow, and they've had a completely different interpretation, or they've just responded more strongly than you thought they would?
I get a lot of, you do get surprised sometimes. Yeah. I'm just trying to think of a good example. Buying Back the Farm was a song that just keeps coming up as probably, when people start saying or start requesting songs, it always comes up in the first, amongst the first 5 songs or something, which kind of surprised me. When I recorded, I thought it's a good song, but I thought it was more an album track, Right. But so it's quite interesting, the songs that people do relate to and come back to you and say, oh, I really like that one. And I guess the audience reaction does then come. It comes back to me, and then of course, if people keep asking for it, you got to sing it. So, and the more you sing it, I guess the more you love it. Yeah. So it's all good, yeah.
And it must be so gratifying to think that that's a story that you had in your life and something that you wanted to convey, and you wrote it, on your own or maybe with another person, but in the studio, and then suddenly it's out in the world and it belongs to other people.
Yeah, that's very, very special a part of what we do. You sort of come up with an idea. It's almost like when you release a song, or when you release a single, or an album, but it's almost like a new baby. It's come into the world, and then it sort of builds a life of its own. But the music fans, they create the life for that baby or album or single. Yeah. So it is quite interesting, like the and that all comes back from feedback from the fans.
Yeah, and that's such a lovely idea that you just expressed, that the audience gives life to that song, essentially. And of course, for the past couple of years, there hasn't been an audience to give life live, for lack of a better term. And you're such a high energy performer. I know that you normally play quite a lot, so it must have been very strange for you to not be out and about.
Very, very strange, very different. I guess if you have to look at from a musical career, it was like a dead stop. March 2020, dead stop. It was like, okay, from being really, really busy so that was I won't say shock, but it was like sobering in a way. But the good side of it was I've got a young family, and we got to spend a lot more time together the last couple of years, which has been fantastic. My youngest daughter was only 1 when COVID hit, so she's 3 now, it was quite. We talked about it with my wife a bit, because she didn't know me that well. I was away that much.
Oh, wow.
It wasn't like we had this warm connection, which we have now. So little things like that are very, very special. And we've all, I've worked on growing vegetables in the backyard, and we went from no barbecues to 3 barbecues and 2 fire pits, and so we sort of let's go out, kids. Yeah, let's go to the backyard. The last couple of years, the backyard's been lucky we got a backyard. So in other ways, it's been quite rewarding. And my son's 11 now, and so we look up recipes online, and we started tackling brisket long, in the Weber kettle, like long 8-9 hour slow cooking with coals, and so that's been really cool. But just trying new things together as with the kids and that type of thing has been fantastic. But now things are opening up again. But we can mix and match now. We can, when I've got to go, and when I'm home, we can do new stuff that we've kind of worked out the last couple of years.
Yeah, and I should point out you're in Victoria, so you were in the most locked down part of Australia, and so you really couldn't get anywhere for 2 years. New South Wales, we thought it was bad enough, but not as bad as that.
Yeah, you guys had, New South Wales had a bit of a run there towards the
last year.
But we got hit hard. I think it was Victoria was the most locked down state in the world, they say. So I can say a lot, but no comment on all that.
Yeah. Well, I think Victorian musicians deserve special medals essentially for turning up again after it was all over, because it's to keep the faith and hold your nerve through the whole thing, and emerge on the other side with new music and think, okay, I'm getting back out there. I think it's a real commitment to your art.
Yeah, no, thank you. And it was such a good feeling. I just come off. I'm still on a bit of a high, because we had in South Australia, we had Country on the Murray, a big festival there a couple of weekends ago, and first time I'd done a big stage like that, and the great crowd, the band was cooking, all the elements were just came together, and it'd been over 2 years since something like that happened, and it was like therapy. It was just so good, and that most of the performers said the same thing that were on there. I think there was at least 1,500 plus people in the audience, so it was a good crowd, good reaction, and that's what we live for, don't we? Really, perform as performers.
Yeah, but I'm also thinking the adrenaline spike from performing that you had, because you hadn't had it for a couple of years, it might have been like, whoa, what was that?
It was. It was like, because I drove there. It was 4.5 hour drive for me to get to Murray Bridge, so it was 4.5 hours back, obviously. But like, I wasn't tired, and even when I got home, it was 12:30 at night when I got home, and it was like I wasn't ready for bed yet. I was still pumped, still
wired.
Yeah.
So that was a 9 hour round trip to play that gig. That's serious commitment.
Yeah. But that's the way it goes. Yeah, that's country life. Another day at the office, really.
True. So, at what age did you perform your first gig?
Ooh, first paying gig. I was that's probably 17, right. 18. Yeah.
And had you been, was it something that you were working up to, that you were playing as a teenager and thinking, as soon as I can get some shows, I'm going to do it, or did it just happen to fall into your lap, so to speak?
I started playing guitar when I was 7.
Right.
Always loved music. And I think, because we started a band with my brothers, so it was a little family band, and it kind of just evolved, I think. Yeah, and I remember thinking back when I was 18 or so, wouldn't it be great if one day we're good enough to play at the local Robinvale club, I really, it's a vivid memory, and so a few years later, we got good enough, or we thought we were good enough, or we got a booking to play there, and so it's just one thing kind of leads to another thing, But I mean, I guess it was kind of like you're setting a goal in your mind, are you? Well, wouldn't it be great to do that? And then once you've got there, then you set other goals, and hopefully they come to fruition as well.
Yeah. So having had the experience of being in a family band, was it strange to play with non-family members, I guess? Did it take some adjustment? Because of course, when you've got brothers, you've got your own shorthand way of communicating.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. I think definitely, because I started going out on my own when I recorded my first album, which was quite a while ago. But I remember, then you need to be hiring, you're the front man, and then you hire other musicians, but the buck stops with you if things go pear-shaped. So it was probably once again an eye-opener, a challenge, but exciting at the same time, because you can, everybody, even if your brothers, we've all, I guess, a lot of times you have got different aspirations, and you want to go in different directions, or this is the path I want to take. So so it's a real challenge, but very gratifying when it comes off.
Yeah, absolutely. I think performance is a craft people can learn, but I also think there has to be an innate ability to do it. And particularly, I think when you love it as much as you love it, there's something that's sort of indefinable that I'm guessing that was there from the start for you when you performed.
That's you got great questions. You're challenging. It's something that I get very nervous, probably not as much as I used to, but it all depends on the situation. Even now, if it's something that I've never done, or if it's a real challenge, I still get very, very nervous. But once you break through that, and I think that's probably the gratifying thing, you break through that nervousness, and then you achieve, or you get that reaction that you'd like to get. I think that's very gratifying.
Yeah.
Luckily, most times that happens. The odd time it doesn't, but most times it does.
Well, I always say that the nerves mean that you care, right? Like if you didn't care about doing a good job, then you just front up and be like, whatever, it's fine. But when you're a bit nervous, it's like, all right, I want this to turn out well for the audience. It's an act of caring for the audience more than I think for yourself.
Yeah, that is true. You feel that that gratification when I guess it's a win-win. Like if the audience is having a good time, or I feel like if I can relax and have a good time, then most times the audience has a good time. So it's kind of like a win-win, and then everybody goes away happy.
Now, as we already mentioned, a lot of the songs that you're bringing to that audience are songs that you've written yourself. So I'm guessing that now that you've released one song, you perhaps have been working on some other songs, and there are some more to come.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. I mean, this is first single. We've got another one we're starting to look at now. We haven't decided exactly when to release the next one, but all working towards an album release, later this year or early next year. So, well, I mean, with as far as an album, these days the whole scene's changed. It's not like this. Everything's going digital now, so it's a lot of iTunes or Amazon or Apple Music downloads, or just be a member of Spotify and just stream what you want. So the landscape has changed, and the way you earn money has changed too. I think it's mainly pushing everybody back towards the main earner. As live performances. It feels kind of that way. Although CD sales are still there, but not like they used to be. But I don't know, I'm going off on a bit of a tangent. But so I think if it had been say 10 years ago, I probably would have had a whole album released already.
Yeah, right.
But given the way things are now, I think there's more time. We can make sure that the singles we bring out hopefully are hitting the mark.
I don't think it's a tangent, because I think the viability of doing what you're doing is central. It's people love to go and see live music. They like go to a festival like you just played, or go to a show at a pub. But there's a lot of time and effort involved in getting onto that stage for the artist. It's you drove 4.5 hours each way for that show. Now, Australia is a big country, so even if you're going just across Melbourne, for example, it could be an hour. Across Sydney can be 2 hours for something. Yeah. Yes. And then there's all of the preparation to get onto that stage with the skill you bring to it. You've rehearsed, all that sort of thing. Yes, the show goes for however long, but it has to be viable for the artist to do it. And so the way you do earn money on that is important, I think, and it has changed so rapidly with streaming. I think again, I commend all artists for trying to keep track of how they can actually run a career in a new environment like this.
Yeah, I mean, times are changing. There's no doubt about it. And I think, like I kind of, it does feel like, although, things like different types of merchandise like T-shirts and stubby holders, and we've got new stubby holders coming out, Drinkin Hours. So and people still want to come up and see you after the show, which is fantastic. So I mean, a lot of times you might be signing hats or whatever, but they want to take home a T-shirt or something, little momentum that they've met you and you can sign it, and so that's kind of really nice. But it's definitely changing. I can remember when I first went full time, a big chunk of the of income was actual album sales. Right. But that has changed a lot. Yeah.
It's, and as I said, it's a lot to get your head around. But of course, central to it all is the drive to create. And so in choosing your next singles, do you kind of use your instincts? Like, do you look at the songs you have and think, I feel like this is the next right one to go out there? Or are you a little more methodical, thinking, well, I had a particular beat on this song or a particular sort of tone on it, so I'll go for something different this time?
Oh, I think once again, number one, it's got to mean something to you. You got to genuinely like it. And if that kind of happens, and sometimes you might, family, friends, you get their vibe on it. Yeah. Like, what do you think of this one? What do you think of that one? I share a lot with my wife, Susie. She's got pretty good instincts, sometimes better than me on certain things. So you look for that little bit of feedback, and but it's got to mean something to you. And back to the old rule: if it means something to you, chances are it's going to mean something to other people.
I think it's any songwriters watching, I think it's a very good rule to stick by. Do you give your kids a say? Do they get to listen to songs?
Oh yeah, I mean, for sure, and especially like Dylan's 11 now, and he says he's my greatest critic and my greatest supporter as well. But he seems to have a good vibe on things like that. So he'll say, yeah, that's a good song, or I don't know about that one. He even tells me, like, if I do something, we had a little local thing here where I just did a solo acoustic thing, and he comes up, he goes, "Dad, you did a really good job today," which is kind of, I mean, it's really nice, and if I didn't, he'd tell me.
Well, maybe that's your next version of the family band. Yeah, your son in it.
It's quite interesting the way it all works out.
Yeah. Well, Paul, I've had you talking for a while, and I do appreciate your time, so I'll let you go. It was great to talk to you about the new song. Looking forward to some new music. I loved Whisper in the Crowd, so I'm happy to hear there is a new album coming soon. Well, towards the end of the year or next year.
Yeah, no, thank you so much. It's great being on, and let's do it again.
Happy to do so. Thank you. Bye.